Hello friends and welcome back. In today's video, we're getting closer to starting a new Laravel 11 project. I am going to walk you through the initial setup and include some helpful tools to ensure your environment is ready to go. Before we dive in, I did want to mention a couple of prerequisites that I just forgot to in the last video. Sorry about that. You're going to need to have Node, NPM, and SQLite installed. SQLite is now the default database in Laravel 11, which has replaced MySQL. Doesn't mean you can't use MySQL, it just means that it's a bit easier, and so I've changed the requirements to use SQLite. That's it. Now, to help with this, I've actually written a little shell script that will help check your environment. You can find it in the GitHub repository right here that I'm pointing down to. It should be here in the video, I think. I'll also put it in the description of the video as well, so you can just hyperlink to it as well if that's easier, which it is. It's going to help make sure that the environment and the prerequisites are set up correctly the way that I'm intending for the video to work, so therefore I have it set to specific versions, like for example PHP 8.2. If you don't have PHP 8.2, it's not going to work correctly. So let's open the video and run the checker. Alright, so here I'm going to run my checker script. And we can see it's running, and let's see what it output. So PHP 8.2 is installed, version 8.2.24. Composer is actually not up to date, so we got to update that. I also added a check-in here for Composer's global vendor bin directory, because that can be a bit of a pain, especially when we're using global commands like the Laravel installer. And since we're working with SQLite, got to make sure we got SQLite set up and installed. Node.js is installed. VS Code is installed. Just a quick note here. You might get a fail on there if you aren't like me, a terminal geek, and have everything set up there. So this might go red even though you might have it installed. So if that's the case, then that's cool. But I like being able to open things from my terminal, so I've always got code set up in my terminal. Then we've got NPM, so you can see NPM is installed, but it's not the latest version. That's okay. That's not that big of a deal. So, and you know, selfless, shameless plug in there for my YouTube channel. But other than that, looks like things are good. So why don't we go ahead and update Composer itself. We're going to go Composer self-update. Composer update failed because it could not be written to. Permission denied. So I am a big fan of less privilege is more. That's why I always try to do things without sudo. However, in this particular scenario, it looks like we do need to do sudo. So sudo composer self-update. And put in my password. And there we go. So now if we were to do sh checker.sh, voila. We've got our PHP version running fine, and we've got Composer up to date. Awesome. So with everything in place, we can move on to installing Laravel. So we're going to go Composer global require Laravel installer. Now I already have this set up, so it should just say that you have it, or in this case upgrade it. But you can see I had it, so in your case it'll probably, if you don't have it already, it'll download the installer and set it up for you. But I just simply updated it a little bit, which is good. It's always good to be on an updated version. So we're gonna, just for now, we might change this later, but for now we're gonna call the application My Awesome App. So therefore we're gonna go Laravel new My Awesome App. For this, remember, we need to use kebab case. Once that's done, we can go ahead and create our project using the Laravel installer. So in the previous video, I mentioned that I was debating whether or not we were going to use Breeze, whether we were going to use Jetstream. So I made the decision. We're going to use Jetstream. And I made that decision mostly because Jetstream just comes with a lot more features out of the box, like team, session management, two-factor authentication, and more. which is going to help us get up and running a heck of a lot faster, I hope. So we have the option here to choose whether we want to use Livewire or View. So like I mentioned, we're using Livewire in this application. And it also prompts you, like I said, for a couple of extra features here that Breeze would not have. So API support, we're just going to check it all, but dark mode, email verification, team support, and just a bunch of other things. You can use whichever you're more familiar with regards to testing. I'm more familiar with PHP Unit, so that's why I'm going to choose PHP Unit. And we're going to not use a Git repo just for now. Right, so you can see SQLite is now selected at the top as the default database application to use. So just hit yes. And would you like to run the default database migrations? Yes. So we added users, cache table, and jobs table, and you can see it's just installing all the additional dependencies and stuff for the Jetstream application. So it says new database migrations were added. Would you like to rerun your migration? So we're going to say yes, let's rerun them. And that's it, we're good. So now we're going to say cd, not into there, but into my awesome app. And let's just say yeah, because we're going to source the .env file. So code.this directory, and let's just make this full screen and take away the welcome message. Don't need that. So here we go, a brand new Jetstream application with Laravel 11. So let's go through it. In the app folder, we have the core files that make up your Laravel application. Here you've got your controllers, which handle the request response cycle. Then in the app models, we have our applications model. By default, Laravel ships with a user model, which we'll be working with, especially after we install Jetstream for authentication and user management. Now we've got a few other things here, like the membership model, the team model, because like we said, this is another reason that we're using Jetstream. In a CRM, you typically have teams like USA or EMEA or LATAM and such that you typically would route your leads to. There's a lot of different ways, whether it's round robin, whether it's performance based, whether it's whatever. Now in Laravel 11, we've also got policies. I'm not going to go into too much right now, but they've got the policies. This is more related to the access control, the role-based access control system that we're going to be setting up as well. And yeah, there's a couple of interesting things here that we'll talk about in later episodes. The config folder contains configuration files for different parts of the application, such as the database, mail settings, session configuration, and so much more. So for example, in the database.php file, you can see here that it sets the default database connection to SQLite. And speaking of databases, we'll go next to the database folder. So this is another extension that I had forgotten to mention, SQLite Viewer, that you might want to install. It makes it easier to work with the database without having to kind of work through it, the command line and stuff. So that's how I'm going to take a look at our database from within my IDE. So if I look at users, we currently don't have any users yet, but once we do, they'll show up here. And speaking of databases, under the database folder, we have some subfolders. We've also got factories and seeders, and those can be used to generate dummy data for testing or even just default configuration values and such. While migrations define the structure of our database table, like the create users table migration file, that creates not just a users table, but several other tables, which is new in Laravel 11, by the way. So we'll use these tools later in the project to create and populate tables automatically. Next, we're going to take a look at resources. So you can see here we've got a place for our CSS file or files and our JavaScript and Markdown. So Markdown is something interesting I noticed with Jetstream. They have Markdown files for policies and terms, which is interesting, I think. And then what really we focus here in the resources folder is the views directory. And you can see here it is very, very rich compared to some of the other areas in just a default Jetstream application. You can see this is where it's getting all the view related front-end stuff for your application. The storage folder is where Laravel stores any files your application might generate or require, such as uploaded images, cached files, or compiled blade views. This will be useful when we implement features such as file uploads later in the series. The tests folder contains files for testing your application, of course. And the vendor folder contains all of the composer dependencies for your project, just like any other PHP application that uses Composer. And it also is going to include the core Laravel framework itself. And then, like we mentioned, we've got the env file. So in this case, you can see that I've got app name, app environment, debug set to true. You can see here the database connection, the default database connection is set to SQLite. And you could always change it to MySQL by uncommenting this stuff and changing this from SQLite to, say, MySQL. Any other sensitive information that you would have in your application, like keys and stuff, all that stuff would be here. Also, anything that is in the configuration file, while I'm here, I may mention it. You can override pretty much almost all of it from the env file. So like you can see all these things here in the app.php. It checks the environment, whether it exists first, in which case it takes it, but otherwise it'll say a default value. So if it doesn't have a default value, then it won't have a value, of course, but most of these things, if you're curious about what you can do and how you can override, you can just come into the configuration files and take a look at it. And then best practice would be just go override it from your environment file. That way you're not touching the source code itself, which is always a good practice, I think. And then we said we've got the composer JSON file. So this is got all your dependencies in it. You've got the package.json, that's got your dependencies for that here. Also, let's just show how it works. So we're going to come over here and we're going to say PHP artisan serve. And now let's get a browser open. So there we go, and we've got our application that is running. It's nice. There's printing here the Laravel version and the PHP version. So we don't have a user, so let's just go ahead and just register a user. So we can just say, let's just say Zed and zedatrix@gmail.com. And I'll just put in, it actually does do a requirement of 8 digits. So I'm just going to put in some random digits there and hit register. And boom, there we go. We've got a functioning application. We've got our little profile and everything. The whole thing, the whole shebang is all set to go. Got our user profile page. We got two-factor authentication that's all there, wired up, ready to go just for us to set up. We got our browser sessions and all that good stuff. And like I said, we've even got our teams functionality, so we can create new teams, give them roles. We got all these great things that are just out of the box, just like that. How awesome is that, right? And that's it for this video. We've got our environment set up now, our project is installed, and we got a quick look at the basic project directory structure. In the next video, we're going to get into building our Jetstream-based application, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, and check the links in the description for all the tools and resources I mentioned today, and I'll see you in the next video.